This is our 2004 Subaru Impreza. Previously, we've removed the head gasket on this vehicle as well as the cylinder head, and now we are getting prepared to actually repair the cylinder head so that it can actually, well, A, not burn coolant anymore, and B, be appropriately tightened down. If you've seen the previous video, you'll see a link will be up here or down here somewhere, but this cylinder head was not torqued properly, so some coolant was getting through. Previously on this vehicle, we purchased it from a backyard dealership somewhere, one of the shade tree dealerships. We repaired the floppy gear shifter. We've also repaired the leaky trunk because the trunk used to leak. Trunk no longer leaks. And now we're going to go into Crazy Carl's basement where he's got the cylinder head because he says he's got AC down there.
I've got the, well, I thought this was convenient how it turned, but I got this set up. This is actually the broken valve. This is a spring compressor, assembled. Not entirely sure that's how you're supposed to do this lower point, but this is the broken one, so I'm going to try it. And I've got a magnet to hook onto everything but what I want it to try to collect those pins when they drop. So that should do it, maybe. Probably need a smaller magnet to fit in there, but we'll see. Go away, you bother me. Anybody need a broken disc here? I've got a bunch of them.
You could do what everybody else does and just send them to Goodwill.
They're too broken for that.
Doesn't stop people.
Okay.
I'm done with this office equipment. I'm sending it to Goodwill. It's literally just a board and a piece of string. Yes, I'm still sending it to Goodwill. Yes, I've seen a desk assembled that way in Goodwill before.
I believe it. Alrighty. The little, I've compressed it enough those should come off, but the fact it won't reach in there. So these aren't covered off, so I need a nail or something. I wonder if there's a screwdriver in here.
I'm kidding, by the way. Don't send your trash to Goodwill.
You will work just fine. Got that magnet down there, so hopefully it'll collect them. There it goes. And there it goes. So I've collected the containing rings. Now, loosen this back up. And depending on the state of everything. And what's bad is you can't say there's a section where it does this one. This is just a bar of steel, so it just passes straight through no matter what. So it's like, yeah, yep, okay.
It is a cheap thing from Amazon, so.
Now which way am I going? This way.
You could wrap one end with tape, you know.
I know, but then I'd have to unwrap it.
That's 3.
Strike, you're out. Okay. Now, in theory, this magnet is very strong, but not cooperating. Nope. That ain't gonna work. Just pull the spring off then and push this out. There we go. Huh. Oops. Now you decide you're going to follow that. And the valve seat's actually still in good shape.
Show that off, please. So
Considering.
Yep. Not tears.
But you can see no oil has been seeping in around it, so those seats are fine. It's just a boogered valve.
Yeah, this part here looks okay. Up here looks fine. There is a slight problem. I'm not sure where. Okay, I'm sorry.
Let's look at the head here. Can you move that light so I can get a better view here? But the head still looks like it's okay. That's not bad at all. I don't feel any spots. You can see some burn there, but it seems fine.
Yeah, with that cracked valve, though, I would expect that.
Yeah. So I think this head's whole problem was this cracked valve. I'm probably not even going to change. I don't know. I'm still back and forth when I'm going to change these out. This one is questionable. It's not bad, but it's got a spot here that makes me almost wonder if the valves didn't hit each other. But it really shouldn't have made any contact over there. So,
I just see crusty stuff.
Yeah, I know. I think it's just where I've taken crusty stuff off of it.
Yeah, like this down here. It's where you're taking crusty stuff off of it.
Yeah. But from what I can tell, everything is coming through these.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's the main problem with the head. Now I've got to decide whether I'm going to do them all or just this one. But the good news is, since that's the worst one, the fact that that's all still good is great. So I'm not worried about it.
Makes the job a heck of a lot easier. Of course, you can buy a pre-assembled thing on Rock Auto and other places for like, what was it, $800 or $1,000?
Maybe they were not. The ones we were looking at actually weren't the right head. So this is the non-variable timing head.
Yeah.
So this doesn't have any change. This is the, lack of better way to say it, this is the old primitive head, which nobody seems to pay any attention to.
It's also the easiest one to repair. Which is
probably why no one pays any attention to it.
Which is awesome for us.
But you can also see the cam looks good. I've not seen anywhere where there's any major wear. You can see where the rollers roll, but it's completely smooth. So there's no problems. It's really just this.
Yep.
This is the whole problem with this head. And like I said, I've got to decide whether I want to do all the valves or just that one valve. Okay, I used carburetor cleaner to clean it up some more and to check the sealing potential of the rest of the valves. None got by any of the other valves, so the other valves are seated good and sealing good, so I'm not going to mess with them. This one, the head, the seat for this on the head is perfect. There's no marring, there's no damage, there's no nothing. Those are 3 straight line marks. Those are like chisel marks. With the last one actually doing a proper split, and it looks like a machine split. I think someone sabotaged this engine. It sure looks like someone sabotaged this engine. Because you had head bolts that weren't done right, including one that was done with Loctite, so it felt tight but wasn't. You have this on one of the cylinders, and everything else is perfect, and there's no damage to the head. So, I don't know the backstory of this car, but more and more it looks like someone may have sabotaged the engine. I don't know if it was to try to upsell and make someone buy a new engine or what. Or just someone was pissed off or what. But that's just bizarre. Or it's even possible someone did a valve job on it and ignored the fact they got a defective valve. And then didn't put it together right. I don't know what happened to this engine in the past, but it just has signs that don't point to it being something nice.
This poor abused car.
And it also doesn't look like it has signs that point towards it not being something that was the car's fault.
Yeah. I joked about it before, but I think it's serious this time. Mechanic abuse.
Yeah, because those are machine strikes. Those are not from something in there because there'd be damage to the head. And they wouldn't be perfect straight lines like that with indentation and warping. The cylinder is warped in such a way that it almost looks like they used a press.
Yeah.
And it just, and you can see everything else on that is still sealing perfect, it's still seated perfect. There's no other problems. It doesn't look out of the realm where it should be for the miles on that. Actually, it doesn't look bad for the miles on that engine.
And if you remember what you've seen just a few seconds ago, the actual cylinder on that valve is fine. There's no burrs, there's no flaws. It's perfectly round.
Yeah, it's not been struck. Doesn't look like anything was bouncing around in there. It doesn't look like anything was bouncing around in the exhaust of the head. So, yeah, I don't know. This makes no sense, and that's just how that's dented in like that is bizarre, especially since there's no damage in the head. So, cleaned it up. I decided to pull the second one just because of how carboned up it was, and so I cleaned this out. I'm going to replace that one too. I've got the one with the damage soaking so I can get a better look at it. But you can see with the head, it's perfectly smooth. I've cleaned it up a good bit. But there's no problems here. And I've been testing using carb cleaner and Berryman's and clean this. These valves, they're not 100%, but they're good enough that I'm not going to worry about it. Because I had to put quite a bit in there to get anything to seep out, and it just barely seeps. So, it's good enough. It's a 140,000 mile engine.
You expect a little bit.
Yeah. And the exhaust was actually better. I couldn't hardly get anything to seep out of the exhaust. I was using this. Other than this one. And that's why I decided to go on and replace this one because it's just so carboned up. And you can see the chunks of carbon I've blown out of that section from where all the oil was burning. But this side's not so bad.
I'll hold up that carbon again and bring it here. See that chunk? Right
There's
there.
a bunch of that. You can see it all over the place over here where it just sprayed it out.
Yep, look at all that.
But just been using carb cleaner, clean it all up. And like I said, I was using that seafoam I sprayed in here, clean these up a little bit. But I also cleaned the gasket fronts, and for the exhaust I've done the same thing. Cleaned up this a little bit, and so that the gaskets will meet up better. Get a lot of the carbon. You can see I've got a lot of the carbon out of the exhaust ports.
This is going to run 1,000% better than what it did before.
And like I said, I'll spray stuff in these. And I had it upside down. No, I'm just about out of carb cleaner. But there's so little coming out. It just kind of dampens around. I'm not going to worry about it. If I was doing a performance build, I'd replace everything. But for a 140,000 mile engine, those are actually really good.
Yeah. And this car didn't exactly have a roll cage in it. So
no,
we're not exactly performance building it.
But see it dry it, and it just barely seeps out, just a little bit, and it takes a long time. Well, I can see how much I've got in there because I pour it out. There's a good bit comes out, so there was a bunch of fluid stuffed up in there, and it just barely seeping out around it at all.
I think you're fine.
So they're within 150,000 mile tolerance.
I think they're within 50,000 mile tolerance personally, but again, I'm not a professional mechanic type guy. I'm a non-professional camera holder type guy. So,
but same thing with these exhausts. I've gone through and tested them all. Only one I saw that was leaking excessively was this one, and I'd spray this stuff in, and it would seep out pretty bad. But you can see where the carbon's built up really bad on this side. So,
which makes sense. That's the mate to the other one that had.
Yeah, that was burning oil. All the oil was coming through. Fuel, oil, and everything else.
Yep.
But the seats, you can see them in there. They look good. This valve also still looks good. You don't really see any telltale of a bad seat or anything. So
yeah, there's that.
So it's not too bad.
The seats there. Yeah. Now we can see the seats.
They may let a little oil through, but
I think they're going to be fine.
It's nothing to the point where it deems for daily driver, non-performance, and non a full rebuild. I can't see any purpose in redoing these.
Well, anybody who's going to put a turbo on this is going to redo it anyways, because they're going to want to redo all the valves and all the stuff if they want to do it right. If they want to do it right...
If you want to put a turbo on it, you want to do it right, you get a WRX that's been wrecked, and you put everything in this car.
Yes, that's what you do. That's if you want to do it right. You know, I don't think there's going to be anybody out there who's crazy. And well, never mind, I take that statement back out before I actually finish that thought.
Did you realize it's something we might do?
Because I realize some of the people around here.
But I just cleaned it all up and cleaned this all up. I kind of like having it on the rotisserie, which I put these here to catch the oil, which is doing a good job. And I had gloves like you're supposed to, and then I took gloves off because fingernails do a good job of scraping carbon off when they're softened with carburetor cleaner. Do not recommend, but it does work very well.
You know, a lot of people use a wire brush for that.
I know, but I don't know where it is, and the only one I know where it is nasty, so I don't want to use it. And for some reason, I always lose the brass ones.
Yeah.
The brass, I always find the plastic ones that are worthless, but the brass ones and the steel ones get used once and lost. Other than the worn out one.
I'm trying not to show off the whole freaking garage here.
Basement?
Basement. Yes, I'm trying to, the whole nasty basement.
Well, it's coming along. It's getting fixed up. Still recovering from, we put central heat and air in this old place finally.
Yes.
Last year, and well, it completely upturned everything in the basement, and I'm still working on getting stuff squared away again.
We're getting there. And he's getting the whole house high with the carburetor cleaner down here.
I like the smell of carburetor cleaner.
It smells like victory.
It does. It smells like I've made progress on a repair.
And the nice, funny, buzzy feeling you get from it is also an added benefit, eh?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So, yeah, as you can see, he's wiping it down.
Mm-hmm. I've got it a whole lot cleaner than it was.
Yeah.
A whole lot nicer than it was. I've got these set. I've still got to do the old this stuff and the new valves so they seat. But I've got it to the point where I can do that. I've got the other one of these sitting in a pill bottle with brake clean to see if I can't get more of the carbon off, to look and see if I can actually see machine spots.
Yeah.
But still trying to get, there's a chunk of carbon there I really want to get off of this thing, and it's just being stubborn.
So that's where we are right now.
I'm using the valve grinding compound and a good shop rag, one of these blue ones, to do some extra cleaning up. I'm going to seat it with these two, which is all they ever show when you do this. But I'm doing it because they're with that valve this way, there's extra carbon buildup in here, and I'm cleaning that extra carbon buildup out, what I couldn't get cleaned out with the carb cleaner. And I'm going to go ahead and clean this one up too. But once that's done, I'll do the seating with these and seat it good, and then go ahead and clean it again really good with carb cleaner.
Now, what about the seats? I remember you telling me earlier something about the seats. And I don't mean the one you're sitting in.
These, they have the seals. The seals are still really good on these. Get it lined up, and you actually have just a little bit of resistance going in there, but it's nice and smooth. So those seals are still good. So they don't have to be replaced on this one. If you go to do this and it's just sloppy, or if it moves any, then you know that, or if it binds and it's too tight, that'll tell you that that seal's bad. So, but those are good. And on this one, I spent a lot of time cleaning it off. I can't get all the carbon off, but the more cleaning, there's no score marks on this. So those, the more and more, it looks like it was direct impact from the side. It's deformed from the side, and you can see even more now that I've cleaned this up. If you come in there with a light, there's no score or dent marks in that head. And for something to do that to this, there should be some sort of mar on that. And there's no marring.
No. And for those of you, because I know I see it too, that I'm just showing you is
It's compound.
It's compound. That is what that is. And I'm sorry if I ruined what you were doing.
No, you're fine. That's already been used up. I'm trying to clean that carbon. This was on this valve, and so you had a great big hump of carbon there, and I got a bunch of it out with the carb cleaner, but there was some of it I couldn't get out, so I've been in here with this rag, and you can see where I started earlier, just working it down till I wear a hole in the rag and then move to another spot. And I've been working that all the way around, getting that carbon deposit out of this so it'll flow exhaust properly.
Yeah, and that's pretty much all there is.
Yeah.
That's why you don't have 10 minutes of him twisting his arm.
Yeah, I've done this one too, but it was the black you see in there is compound, but this didn't have near the buildup. I'm just doing it that way. They're equal.
Yeah.
But, and like I said, these are good. There's no problem with this one, so I'm not even going to mess with this one. I'm going to include the new valves and all the stuff with this vehicle for anyone that wants this vehicle. But there's no reason to change them right now. And because there's not really any issues with those. It's just carbon buildup, and that's pretty standard, and they're not even that bad.
Yeah. And those scratches are from what?
That's from me scraping off the carbon with my fingernails. Don't recommend doing that, but it does work. I got it off of the intake valves really good. The exhaust valves, someone's run something through here, and that's kind of a concreted, and it's also coolant concrete, and I got it off best I can, but it's not really going to hurt anything. Just looks bad mainly. You can actually, it's down to the numbers. It just has this weird concrete on it. You can still see it on these a little bit. That's what it was originally like.
Yeah.
And I got everything that would get soft and release off. It's just still... But...
Down here working it, and this head is going to go back on there soon.
I'm hoping so. I'm hoping I can get this done today and have it set so I can put it back together. And then it'll be when I have time and it's not horrible weather for me to put it back on the car.
Yeah.
Because like everyone else, there's no air conditioner out there, and it's been hot and humid, so it's pretty miserable to work out there. And part of why my videos have been slow, I've been fighting some health issues, so it's not been real easy for me to work out in that here lately. So that's why I'm down here.
True. It's hard to fit the Subaru down those stairs.
Yeah.
Ain't say we haven't tried, but it's hard to fit those Subarus down that Subaru down those stairs. At least in one piece. Yeah, a little narrow.
Now, if you have one of the old little Subarus, maybe a couple of ramps, it'd probably slide right down there.
Or the Crosley that James May had on.
That one, you just pick it up from both ends and carry it down.
Yeah. Oh, Lord. With James May inside, probably.
Yelling about it.
Screaming at us the whole time.
But yeah, like I said, this isn't necessarily a normal procedure for someone to do these this way. I've done it this way because there was a lot of extra buildup on this port, so I'm trying to get it out from inside of it.
And what would that extra carbon hurt? What if we left it alone? What would it do?
Mainly, it just restricts flow, so it doesn't necessarily... It'll hurt performance a little bit, possibly. It mainly just bugged me, so I'm cleaning it up, so it's a good, clean port.
I gotcha.
Because you can see... This one I have not pulled out and cleaned out. You can still see, which I'm going to reach in here and clean out. You can see the carbon still built up on the edges some. But it's not near as bad as it was here. You can still see a little bit on here from the exhaust. These are exhaust ports, so you get all your remnant. And when it was burning oil, it just built up. I've cleaned this one best I can, but I'm not going to pull those valves. This side I'm cleaning up real good since I'm putting new valves in.
Gotcha. So,
but with the shape of this, I don't foresee that there shouldn't be a problem with anything else on these heads. If the other head's like this one, these should be fine unless something catastrophic happens. They should be fine until it's time to redo the rings on that engine. Then you go through and you'd redo everything.
Yeah, I would foresee if you're redoing the rings, you're redoing all of that anyway. Well, all right. So it's moving right along.
Yep. Well, that looks a lot better. Could still use some cleaning. Using fingernails and carb cleaner. I was using gloves until I started using my fingernail to get the carbon off. But nice and smooth along the working surface, which is unlike what that valve up here would have indicated. So, oh yeah, I should be filming it this way instead of that way. So, and all of it's much cleaner, especially the exhaust. So I've got getting ready to do the seat with the new valve. Be really careful not to get any compound up here, because you don't want to sand your oil seal. But just get it around the edge like that. Load it in. And then use these thingies with the suction cups to spin it.
Can we see the top so we can see the... No, not...
Oh.
These thingies, he says.
They're thingies. They're suction cup thingies.
They're thingies with the name on the packaging you were hiding.
I think I'll need to use one of these ones because I think the other ones are going to be too big. Well, maybe I do need the bigger one. I don't know. I've never used these before.
Yep. We're learning as we go. Don't you know?
Maybe. I don't know. It's supposed to be suction cup, but I don't see the suction cup actually doing anything. So... well...
And I apologize for shots of his ear, but I would rather him being able to concentrate than us getting a good shot.
How do you suction cup?
Probably liquid on top of it. It's probably how it sticks.
Maybe I should stuck it before I had it in there. Cheap part. Cheap tools.
Where'd you get it from?
The jungle site.
We're allowed to say Amazon. They're not going to sue us, I promise. They might sue us if we start calling Jeff Bezos daddy. They might sue us for that. Bad joke, and you just let it slide by.
Yep, I'm letting that one slide by. I was more thinking about the fact that, you know...
Disturbing to hear me call someone daddy?
No, that Zuckerberg and Elon Musk are supposedly they're trying to set up a death match. I don't know. That was a little blurb. Yes, exactly.
A death match?
A death match. For charity.
Between who and who?
Zuckerberg and Elon Musk.
Are they going to rage in the cage?
I guess so. Maybe Elon finally built his Iron Man suit.
They're going to have hell in a cell?
I'll tell you what, that thing's worthless. Okay. Let's see if I can do it this way. There's a valve on this side.
Are they going to use tables, ladders, and chairs?
I have no idea. It's Vegas rules, so what rules are Vegas rules? I have no idea if this is real news or not. It was something that I heard the other day, and it made me laugh.
I'm running out of WWE wrestling match references here. Quick, somebody who's actually watched wrestling in the past 25 years, give me some more.
Don't ask me. I haven't watched it since the 80s.
I haven't watched it since Stone Cold Steve Austin and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson were having their whole "we're literally going to kill each other in cars" thing. I stopped watching about then.
You know, I've never seen anyone do it this way, but this is actually working pretty good. Finger held there, so you hold it down, and then just twist it back here. Because those things did not work.
Oh.
I'm sure if you got one, these ended up being hard rubber, and there's no suction to it, so it's worthless. Don't buy those.
And if you're saying you should have read the instructions, well, there's the instructions.
Yeah, don't buy those. The suction cups fail at being suction cups.
Told you put a little oil on that, baby.
Well, the problem is, those aren't flat, and they won't flex enough so they'll make a seal.
Oh, sure.
See? Here.
Yeah.
Try it on the glass bottle.
I don't know if y'all are getting this. Let me see here. These are the dumb things we get up to.
And it won't even hold to the wet glass bottle. Look. Side. Look at the bottom, though. This thing. There it's on. And it won't even hold to that, and it's flat. See what I mean? It's junk.
Yeah, it is junk.
Those are junk. Also, not a sponsor, but good stuff. Non-alcoholic.
Well, it's ginger beer. 99% of the ginger beer on the market is non-alcoholic.
Yep. It's not a wobble pop. I still love that term.
Wobble pop?
Wobble pop.
What is a wobble pop? That sounds like one of those weird Funko Pop knockoffs. That's what that sounds like. No,
one of the other YouTube channels is what he called, one of the other YouTube car people call beer.
Wobble
pop.
That sounds like a Vice Grip Garage thing.
It is a Vice Grip Garage thing. I love it. I love that term. It's a wobble pop. I like that.
And that makes sense. That absolutely does make sense. All right, I'm not... Home Dude has his own cool lingo. I'll leave that alone since it's his. He's got his own thing with the cool lingos and stuff.
And there, if you can get in there and see inside, you see where it's nice and smoothing out, really good.
Oh yeah.
So you're not getting any carbon spots or bars or little pits and stuff. So
it's going to make a complete seal and not going to partially burn.
The cylinder that couldn't get compression will now have the best compression in the car.
As you remember from the last video, which I may put that link up here or down there or somewhere, but the cylinder walls had no scoring on them. The piston heads didn't really have all the damage. It was just that one valve.
This.
Yeah.
Which, that's not conducive to what happens to a valve and a head. Not without major damage to the head and to the cylinder.
This is when... this is a screw you guy. That's what this is.
This is right up there with the Loctite on the head bolts that weren't tightened down.
Yeah.
Showing the difference between one that's been ground and one that hasn't. This one I did the grinding on and got the mating surfaces matched up nicely. You see how smooth it looks, how different it looks compared to the one that hasn't been done yet. So it'll look more like that afterwards. I haven't cleaned them yet, but it's just been wiped off. So you see glitteries on it. And I'll clean them all good with carb cleaner. And stink everybody out and get complaints about how the house smells like carb cleaner now.
That's whatever.
Now to the cleanup part, so I'm making a mess. But you can see how it has it's an even surface, but it has a less of a shining. The same here, and that's from where they've been met up. And I did clean those too, and I will wipe them down and clean them again. But just I use carb choke cleaner. I like it. I think it works better than brake cleaner or anything else.
Pardon me, that was our well.
And then, like I said, I'm going to wipe it down again and with another clean towel. And then I'll spray it off again. And then let it dry and then put it together. You can see how clean that looks now, and how where it seats, you have no black carbon on it, but it's not a nice shiny clean finish like it is above and below where it's seated was done.
Pardon me, that was me switching cameras so everybody didn't catch his bald spot.
I thought you were hiding the fact I had to dig a piece of paper towel out of the thread for the spark plug.
No. We're trying to zoom in on that.
I am going to spray this and clean this out again just for the heck of it. Don't get this up in your eyes. It's not pleasant.
Also, not trying to get it in the camera. That wouldn't be pleasant either.
Just clean it.
It's electronic. It'll just kill it.
But once again, you see I fill it full of carb cleaner, and the carb cleaner is not really leaking out, so those are still sealed good.
Yep.
That's why I'm not replacing them, because they don't look brand new, but they're still doing the job, so there's no point in replacing them right now.
Honestly, when you get it reassembled, nobody's going to care. Nobody's going to look in to see which parts look brand new or not on the inside.
I'm not doing a performance build. I'm doing, this is going to drive good now.
This is not going to burn oil now.
Yeah. Well, it's a Subaru. It'll probably still burn oil. But it won't burn oil like it was.
Yeah. It's not going to burn coolant now. How's that?
Yeah, it's not going to burn coolant, and it's not going to, and it'll have compression in cylinder 3.
Yes.
And it shouldn't burn oil like it was, because it was actually, you can see the pass-throughs. That's where the coolant was leaking. You can see where this is one of the bolts that wasn't tightened down. You can see where the coolant was passing through and getting into the cylinders. It didn't lock this one down either. You can see where it passed through there. You have oil galleries. And you can see, well, before I cleaned it up, so you look back to one of the old ones, you could see where the oil galleries, there was dark, well, you can kind of see it there, where you had a dark pass-through. And somehow it didn't get in the coolant system, which is amazing, but it still leaked into here.
Well, it has in the past. That's the reason why we had to clean the coolant system out.
Yeah. But before I cleaned it up, you could see where you had dark areas. So you can see where the coolant stuff is, because it's not completely cleared off. And it left a little bit of oxidation and the green stuff in the coolant. And where the oil was, before I cleaned this all up, you could see where there was a little bit of dark streaking from where the oil came in. I've got this all cleaned up and ready to go, but I'm going to go ahead and get me a straight edge and try to make sure I've gotten all this cleaned smooth so I can put the new gasket on and then clean it again while I'm in here doing this. And then I'll get these in and turn this over and start putting the top end together again. First of all, I'll go on and talk about, this came with these. These are these little seals. They're hard to get off, but like I said, these are fitting so well, I can't see replacing these two when I'm not replacing all of them. So I'm just going to leave these for next time this engine gets real. But something I want to do before this, you have these. This is top engine cleaner and lube. It's anything that's got kind of an oil in it. And the main thing of this is, after I did all that cleaning and de-oiling, you want some oil in here. So I'm going to load these up before I put the valves in. So they're pre-lubed.
And so is the wall.
Of course.
Wall's pre-lubed as well.
And then gently push that through the seal. There we go. And that's where I said if that seal was completely gone, this should push home pretty easy. The seal's still grabbing it and causing suction, which is what you want. That means that it's sealing. And there we go. Those are in. Now it's just a matter of putting the springs, which I put on here to keep clean, springs and all that back with so reversing the method, which I think we're going to set the camera up and try to film it. So Weird Wave is just to let know that there's talking, and I am going to start putting this top end together again. And I got the valves in. I've got the springs. Hopefully I remember what order I set them in. I think I set them in the same order that I think this is this one and that one's that one. Well, I said I was going to lay it this way, and I just remembered I've got to have it up the other way. The reason why I had it sitting up is because I can't use the clamp this way. Oh, I remember now. I was going to use a little piece of towel on this, on these new valves, just so I don't, it probably doesn't matter, but I don't want to gouge up these new valves. So just take a deep paper towel and grabbing it in here. That way it's a towel on against the valve instead of metal against the valve. Put a little spring cover back on. Gotta tighten it down until the spring sits, which I don't know if this is going to be in there or not, but this time I'm going to tighten the spring down more than I did to loosen it, just because I need to go through it. If you can see, you have tightened it down to where you see on this one, there's these two little rings. And that's what these little ring clips connect to. So you've got to set them in. And it is the bigger end, okay, the tapered end down. A little tapered end, which is kind of hard to see, but there's a tapered end. That subtle taper goes down. It's also the shorter end with the rings. So I'll do this again just to make sure. There's talking here, but you're going to do it this way. It's the shorter end with the ring that goes down. It's got a little bit of a taper to it. This is the hard part of reassembly. Getting these little hard part of reassembly is getting these things back on. got that half in. Now let's see if I can get the other half in. Easy, they say. I understand why they never show this part. Because it's anything but easy. This may end up being a kit job because my finger is too big. Let's see. Maybe. Let's see if I can get the other one. There's gotta be a way to do this other than having small fingers. Go. Now see if I can get separate. I put the cardboard hole. I got it in on the bottom and needing cardboard hold in. I'm trying to get this one at the top. This doesn't want to cooperate for some reason. Come on. Alright, got the cardboard to hold it in there, got it down, got them in, and now I can't get the cardboard out. So now I gotta figure out when I can get the cardboard out and not lose the pin. Okay, there's the cardboard starting to move. Okay, my cardboard there. And of course the pin drops right there. Cardboard worked brilliantly until the spring caught it. More. And I finally got it. Hey, I got it. A little bit of a cardboard support, a couple of the tubes. It's in there. You're locked. So, alright. I would have liked it better if they were a little more symmetric, but it's in there. There, now I'm happy with it. Now I'm happy with it because they've got spacing so you can get some oil movement in there. Not that there necessarily needs to be oil movement in there, but it makes me feel happier. Now we'll see. Maybe this side will go easier since I've had some practice. Probably not, but it might. Once again, the smaller end down. If you can see that, it's got a taper to it. Now I'm trying to see if I've got cardboard stuck in it. And I don't think I do. On either one, I don't think I got the cardboard out. So good deal. So, let's turn this back up. 2 new valves. Everything's good and done. So, there we go. Now I just got to reassemble the top. So, make sure he knows I'm talking again. But yeah, just got to reassemble the top now. So, I'm going to clean up and start on that. Here in a bit. Now, let's just set you back there for a moment. Somehow you're still dripping oil. I don't know where you keep finding oil, but you keep finding oil to drip. Like I said, I got to clean this mess up for a moment. Keep making clean work surfaces. I've gone through too many towels. Now I got to get another roll of towels. Alright. And down it goes. This way so you can see. A little bit of carb cleaner to clean my gloves so I can actually grip stuff. There we go. Nice and degreased. And I really don't think it matters on this one for the cross thing. They're separate. I really didn't need to take this bar off at all. I really wish I hadn't. But it would have made it hard to, I couldn't have rotated it like I did though, so it's kind of nice having it the way it suits it. I forgot to put some, I'll loosen this up a little bit because I forgot to put some top end lubricant underneath there. So now I'll back them all out. Now that I remembered to do that, I tighten these back down by hand again, and then I got to go find the torque ratings for them because I don't remember. Actually, I'm going to be kind of guessing on that because the bulletins are for the variable timed heads, and this isn't a variable timed head, so it may have different specs for torque, so I'm going to have to check the torque factors. For now, that's it. I'm going to figure out the torque specs, and then I'll do that, and then I'll be done with this for the day. So, and finally figured out what these torque specs are. They're 18 foot-pounds, and the order is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
I will try to put that on the screen as well. If I can't find it, I didn't have it to put on the screen. Oh, there we go.
18 pounds, and there's the order.
So there you go. I know some of y'all just skip through this film until you get to those points. I'd appreciate it if you give it a thumbs up if that's all you really use this video for. I would appreciate that. Ain't like we're making money on this.
And I will go back through and do them again.
When it's not moving on the table?
Mm-hmm. I like how everybody else that does this thing doesn't move around on them.
Well, they're probably not doing it on cardboard.
True, and paper towels. They also normally have a nice torque wrench, not a Harbor Freight.
Well, if it works. They never tell you which harbor this is freight from.
Well, there's a good reason, and you can't track it back.
I guess so.
Remember, that's why bottles have lids.
Yep. It's like Craftsman. They never tell you which Craftsman it's for.
Well, it used to be one out of Chicago, but I don't know.
So it's only for Chicago Craftsman?
Mm-hmm.
This is why proper torquing is important.
And there we go. A completely reassembled head. Now I have to go back on the block.
And yes, I might put the applause music behind there. I paid for it. It was $3, but still I paid for it.
And I know they show, most of these show assembly lube, all kinds of stuff. I like the top engine spray stuff. It's just convenient.
It'll do.
It'll do. You'll get more oil in there.
Yeah. And as you said, we're not performance building this.
And then it rotates. So everything moves. Show you they're moving. Oh, man. It moved. Now it's oily. Oil dripped on this, and now I can't get it turned because I'm getting oil.
Don't turn it the wrong way and like unscrew the.
But it's good. It moved. You saw it moving. Now my hands are all oily, so I can't turn it anymore.
How's that for assembly?
All right, so
Victory!
now to get the car reassembled.
Yes. Please like, share, and subscribe. This is the end of this part.
Yep.
We don't know how to do the timing.
Yeah, the timing's going to be fun to figure out. I
we'll
know
get
how
there.
to do it, but it's one of those funny things because they show marks, and every Subaru seems to show a different mark.
Wait, is this
So,
interference?
yes.
We'll
well,
get there.
we can't get it. We can only get it wrong once.
Yeah.
Then we'll have to put more valves in.
But from what I've seen of that, I think I can get that fairly easily. It's just, I think I know where the marks are, so it's not going to be hard to line it up.
Yep.
So the next time, like, share, subscribe,
Wait.
and bug people with it.
Wait.
Something. Can you say it again?
Shut up, Alexa. No. Are we gonna talk about the timing marks on that engine seem to look different because every single Subaru EJ25 single overhead cam seems to have completely different faces on the side of the engine that show where the timing marks should be. And the engine in our Subaru does not match at all what any diagram we've seen looks like.
What he said.
So we may need to insert a shot of looking at the side of the block before he took the head off, because the timing marks are just show what we're talking about. The timing marks on the side of the block where you're supposed
And it's supposed to be up, I think, but yeah, that's going to be fun because that's an in-between spot. There we go.
Well, we'll stick the heavy wrench on it when we get there. And
Yeah, the up's an in-between spot, so I can't do it with it off the engine.
Yeah. Well, and the marks on the block, it's not on the head. So you see this mark here.
Mm-hmm.
This mark here.
Actually, no, it will
but-
be. That's actually probably going to be pretty close because I just remember this is going to be this way. So right there, that should be center.
Yeah. So
And that works out because that's in neutral. It's where the pistons are down. So.
Yep. As y'all see, we're going to figure it out. Please like, share, and subscribe.
Yep.
And especially if this helped you out, please
I
like.
hope it
share.
helps.
Yeah.
Especially the 18 foot-pounds because that was confusing to find for some reason.
That was a jerk and a half to find.
And if anyone has any tips or special tricks that they're going to tell us before the next video comes out about
Putting this back on.
timing tricks and whatnot.
Timing and head gasket tricks, because the head gasketing instructions seem like you're trying to unlock some sort of puzzle box.
Please, viewers, please interact with us.
So they're interesting. So far, reading the magnets and stuff, it kind of made me not interested.
I've watched enough horror movies to know you don't unlock puzzle boxes. I've watched enough. No, we don't need to see Pinhead. All right. Y'all have a good one.
Have a good one.